Today we will start with al-Jawazim. So Jazm, as you know, is another state of the fi'l, which is very exclusive to verbs. Noun does not have Jazm state. We've studied the Jazm, what does it mean, and what are the Alama. We mentioned that asl is a sukun, and then we also talked about other ways to make majzum. For example, حذف النون, when you have من الأفعال الخمسة, then we drop the noon. And also we talked about what happens at the end if it's mu'tal, which is we drop the huruf or حرف العلة. So here Musannif says, this is the Ajurrum, he's saying, والجوازم ثمانية عشرة. So he says there are 18 adawat, tools that makes a present tense verb into Jazm state. And he lists them: وهي lam, ولما, وألم, وألم, then ولام الأمر, والدعاء, ولا في النهي, والدعاء. Then he lists وإن, وما, من, مهما, إذما, أي, متى, أين, أيانا, أن, حيثما, كيفما, وإذا في الشيء الخاص. This is another thing. So basically he lists them, all of the adawat that makes a present tense verb into mansub. What the scholars do, they divide these tools, the 18 tools that he mentioned, into two primary parts. And these parts are not some kind of theoretical part. These are very important difference between them. So they will differentiate between these ones, and the rest would be another category. So these first ones are your standard huruf that makes present tense verb into majzum. Okay, and the rest is your adawat ash-shart. These are the conditional statement. We use them to make conditional statement. Like how do we say if and then statement? Okay, so they're a little bit different. So what I want to do is today just go over the first part, and then inshallah next class we'll go over the next ones. Okay, we'll just start reading from Tuhfa Saniyya. Usually Tuhfa Saniyya, the text explanation a little bit big, but I think this should be fairly simple. He goes أقول, this is Muhammad Muhyiddin, he's saying الأدوات التي تجزم الفعل المضارع 18 جازما. So this is the plural for ada. So he's using the word to. He's not saying harf. He's not saying ism, because there some of them are ism and some of them are harf. وهذه الأدوات تنقسم إلى قسمين. Okay, so these tools are divided into two parts. القسم الأول, the first part, كل واحد منه يجزم فعلا واحدا. The first group is it only makes one present tense verb into majzum. Okay, you have what? فعلا واحدا. والقسم الثاني, and the second part, كل واحد منه يجزم فعلين. So second part will impact two verbs, two present tense verbs. It will make both of them into majzum. Then he says, وأما القسم الأول فستة أحرف. So for the first part, we have 6 particles. Honestly, there's only 4. The Musannif, Ajrumiyyah, he added 2 extra. Usually nobody does it like that, but their main one is what? وهي Lam wa Lama, and you have Lam al-Amr, La an-Nahiya. So these are your primary huruf. These are all huruf. All of these things are huruf. But the problem happens when you go to the second part, the conditional statement. That's when some of them are harf and some of them are ism. Inshallah, we'll talk about them when you go there. We have, he said 6 because of the Musannif, he added these 2 extra. So main thing is what? Lam, Lamma, Lamul Amr, and you have La an-Nahiya. So he says, let me finish reading. He says, ستة أحرف وهي لام ولما وألم وألم. Then we have ولام الأمر والدعاء لا في النهي والدعاء كلها حروف كلها all of them are particles by what? By ijma'. So all of them they agree that there are harf. Why did he say that? Why is it important for us to know whether grammarian agrees or not? Because second part we will have some discussion whether it is ism or harf. So the first part we have these huruf that makes only one present tense verb into majzum. He says amma lam فحرف نفي وجزم وقلب. The first one, the main one that we know is lam. It is a particle of negation and majzum. Of course, it is going to make a majzum and also qalb. What does he mean by qalb? Let me explain to you what lam, the best way to think about lam if from English perspective is think about lam as did not, didn't, did not. How do we use did not in English? You say what? I did not go. So the question is, are you negating something that is present tense, future tense, or the past tense? Obviously, you're negating something that happened in the past, right? You said you didn't go, so it did not happen. But what verb are you using here? Is go past tense or the present tense? Yes, mudari is a present tense. You're not saying went. Went is a past tense. But what are you doing? You're negating something that happened, an action in the past, which should be a past tense verb, but you're doing by using a present tense verb, right? This is exactly what the lam does. So how do you say this one in Arabic? You will say lam adhab. Okay, lam adhab. So we have this lam, and look at the verb that we're using. This is what the verb that we're using. This is a present tense verb. But what's happening, the meaning that we get is the past tense. So this is what he means by qalb. It changes the meaning into past. So you're using the present tense verb and you're negating the present tense verb, but the meaning changes to what? Meaning changes to past. Okay, so that's what he means by qalb. What did he mean by jazm? Jazm, he means by that you will make the verb into majzum. And nafi, of course, it means that you're negating. All these three words has a meaning, and when you combine them, that's when you understand what the lam is doing. But as I said, in English, I don't think there's another way you can negate the past tense action. But in Arabic, we can. What is another way we can say this one? What is another way we can say this thing without using present tense verb? Directly past tense. So you say, ma dhahabtu. So this is a directly negating past tense. As far as I know, we cannot do this in English language. In English language, we always have to use this format. And then, so he gives an example from the Quran, Lam yakunil ladhina kafaru. So you have Lam yakun. So now, of course, we have to go a little bit in details what's going on. We're looking for a sukun, and we don't see a sukun, and instead we see a kasra. Can Lam ever come? No, Lam cannot come in the Madi. No. Some books will say one of the alama of mudare is that is preceded by lam. So that means if it's alama of mudare, so it cannot come into past tense. So this kasra we can explain easily, right? Why we have a kasra here? Because iltiqa sukun, which doesn't happen in Arabic language. So we put kasra. Then the next one, he gives example, قُلْ لَمْ تُؤْمِنُوا. So you have a lam. So how is this one majzum? What's happening here? Yes, ahsantum. That it's dropping the noon for. So this is from al-af'al al-khamsa. So you drop the noon. So it should have been tu'minuna, but because of lam, we make it in majzum by dropping the noon. Now, so the next one we have wa amma lamma. So as far as the lamma, it is harfun mithlu lam. It is just like the harf lam that we talked about. Fi nafi, so it also makes it negative. Wa jazm, it also makes it to majzum. Wa qalb, it also changes from the past and present. So you have these qalbs happening, alternation happening. So for example, he gives bal lamma yadhuqu adab. So first of all, what is lamma? What does it mean? Yes, ahsant, not yet. So some of the grammar book will go a little bit more in details and explain. For example, Alfi ibn Malik will go a little bit in details. They will talk about what's the difference between the two. Past tense is connected to the present tense. So madin, you can say it's connected to hal. So the meaning, it continues from the past to present. And that's how we get not yet. So that means here we said I didn't go. So it's and the past is and has no connection with the present. But when you say lamma adhab, it means I did not go yet. By saying the yet, we're bringing from the past and making a link with the present. So other books, they will mention this ruling. And everything else, as mentioned, they work the same way. You can just quickly, you just simply change this one into lamma adhab, I didn't go yet. فهمتم? Now he will mention the two extra that Musannif Ajrumiyyah mentioned, which is Alam and Alama. Honestly, they are exactly the same thing as Lam and Lama. So as for Alam, is exactly same thing as Lam. The difference is it's the same thing as Lam and Lama, except that you have Hamzatul Istifham. He said here Hamzatul Taqrir, which is fine. He's being a little bit more precise with terms of meaning, but this is end of the day, this is Hamzatul Istifham. The same Hamza that we use. Hada kitabun is the same Hamza. For example, Allah says, Alam nashrah laka sadrak. So here's Lam. If you remove the Hamza, you say, we did not expand. Sharaha, the way we know sharh is meant to explain, but the meaning here is to expand. So when something is explaining to you what happens, your knowledge expands. But bringing the Hamzatul Istifham, Allah is saying, didn't we expand your chest? So same thing goes for Lamma. It's the same thing as Lamma, but you have what? You have Hamzatul Istifham. So he said, Alamma uhsin ilayk. But remember, the rules are same thing because we're still using Lamma, so it has to have a sukun, it has to be majzum, and all the other rules are there. So he's saying, have I not been good to you yet? Something like that. I don't know, whatever he means here. So that's the meaning that we get. Clear, guys? So basically we have two from here so far. Then we have Amma Lam. As for the Lam, فقد ذكر المؤلف, the author mentioned أنها تكون للأمر والدعاء. So this Lam is Lamul Amr, the Lam for the command. And the Musannif, the author mentioned that it can be for Amr, for command, or it can also be for dua, also for supplications. وكل من الأمر والدعاء يقصد به طلب حصول الفعل طلبا جازما. He's saying therefore, regardless whether it is for the Amr or dua, يقصد به, what is intended by it is طلب, a request, طلب حصول الفعل, a request to make the action happen. So you're requesting occurrence of an action طلبا جازما, by a firm request. What he's trying to say, just because the word dua, some people might think there's no emphasis, like it's like some kind of weak command. No, this is not the case. But he's saying that dua also has a demand. Okay, طلبا جازما, there's a strong emphasis. So this is clear so far? Then he says, الفرق بينهما أن الأمر يكون من الأعلى للأدنى. The difference between them is that the command will happen from the a'la, from the high, mean upper, to the adna, to the lower. In Arabic language, this is very interesting. The command verb is not only for this one, it's also for the command verbs. When you say idhab, if'al, any command that you make, whether the command is a command or it's a dua or it's a suggestion, it will be based on who are you addressing. You understand? The verb itself will morph into meanings, different meanings based on who you're addressing. So if it's coming from the top down, then it will become Okay? If it's coming from the bottom up, then it will become dua. And if it's from the same level, then it will be a suggestion. It's automatically, right? Allah is saying something, asking us to do something, it's a straight command. And if every time we say, Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, we're directly using command verb to Allah. Ihdina, guide us. You understand? So what's happening right now? He will say, Amma dua fayakunu min al-adna lil-a'la. For the dua supplication, it will be automatically, if you're lower level and you're asking something on the higher level, it will all automatically will be converted into a supplication. Is it clear? For example, he gives an example. Prophet said, فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ. فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ. Say something good or keep quiet. Honestly, wallahi, if we can just take this advice, we will get ourselves out of lots of trouble and make our life so much easier. SubhanAllah, this is sometimes we just say things when we don't have to say it. Now, so here I need to say a few things because there's a few things going on here. Number one is by default, this lamul is with the kasra, right? Like here, you have lamul kasra right here. Li yasmut. You have this verb yasmutu. Yasmutu. Okay, that he keeps quiet. Now, if you add the lamul so you say li yasmut, and we know this lam makes present tense verb into majzum. So what happens? We add a sukun. Li yasmut. So how would you translate this one? We're saying this lam is a command verb. We're commanding something. And now we're commanding, as you can see, it is a third person. So how would you translate this? Yes, the best way is what to translate is use the word should. So you say he should. Every language, you cannot command someone you're not addressing. If you're addressing someone, you can say, yes, keep quiet, go here, do this and that. But the person is not here. So how do you command him? Because he cannot listen to your command. He's not here. So in English, we will say he should, they should. Okay. So that should is actually a command. Yeah, this is the best way to translate. And this lamul amr, it will most of the time will come into for the ghaib, third person. Now, my question is, why shouldn't we use this one to command someone in front of you? I mean, this person is in front of you. Why can we use the li? Let's say Muhammad is here. I want to say quiet or do this. Okay, so you speak directly. So how do we speak directly? You mean just use the command verb, right? Yes. We have a command verb for the second person. So why should we use the lam wal amr? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, so if we want to say something to the someone who's right in front of us, we as a second person, we just use the command verb if'al, idhab, uktub. So there's no need for us to use this lamul amr. So that's why most of the time the lamul amr will be used for the third person or even mutakallim, the first person. Usually will be in a plural, but sometimes for different uslub, you want to command yourself something. So most of them, we will use it for the third person. Now, the issue is what happened here? Why the lam has a sukun? This is the same lam as we're talking about li. Why does it have sukun? So the rule is very simple. If this lamul amr preceded by fa, yes, ahsan, fa or waw, it will take a sukun. Fa or waw, it will take sukun. Okay, so just keep this rule in mind. So don't get confused that this is something else. No, this is your same lam al-amr, just that preceded by fa. So that's the way we do it. Clear? So for example, he says, لِيَقْضِي عَلَيْنَا رَبُّكَ. This is the lam al-amr. So how do you know this is lam al-amr, and how do you know that this is a majzum? You have a kasra. And kasra, remember guys, be careful when you say verb has a kasra. Verb can never ever have a kasra as a state. Yes, no kasra for verb. Yes, ahsan. So it was yaghdi, yaghdi. Okay, so what did we learn? We learned that the way we make a majzoom, if it has huruf al-illa, is we drop it. Okay, another thing I don't think I mentioned the last time is that what happened is that when you drop the letter that you dropped, we dropped ya, right? The letter that you drop, you will have an alama, a sign. You will know which letter you dropped by looking at the haraka that's before it. Okay, so the ya and kasra, they go together, right? You have alif and fatha, they go together, and waw and dhamma, they go together. So if you have a kasra before it, so you know the letter that you dropped was ya. Simple as that. There's no confusion. You cannot think that was it ya, it looked like ya, it looked like alif. No, there is no confusion. You see kasra, you know that the letter that you dropped was ya. Okay, so if you drop something wow, it will be dhamma. If you drop something that alif, it will be fatha. Okay, so keep this in your mind. Now, so the last one is what? وأما لا فقد ذكر مؤلف أنها تأتي للنهي والدعاء. This is the same thing because the Musannif said that it can be this la and nahi can be for amr and it can also be for supplications. Okay, and he mentioned the same thing, and he also wants to make sure that you understand both of them would be. It says kaf anil fi'l. The kaf is to prevent, stop, anil fi'l. So that means when you say la and nahi, you say don't do something. Your intent is what you intend is to stop something from happening, wa tarkihi, or leaving it. And also the farq bainahuma, the difference between them is the same difference that I mentioned. It is going up and down. Okay, so I don't think we have to spend so much time here. And for example, Allah said la takhaf, don't be scared. Okay, and here it says la taqulu ra'ina. So here la, this is the la nahi, and it says taquluna, it should be taquluna, do not say, but we drop the noon because of the state of jazm. And ra'ina, uh, this is from Surah Al-Baqarah. This ra'ina, this, it has a meaning in Arabic, to wait for something, but the Jew, they were using this word in a very bad way. So Allah said, "Na la taqulu ra'ayna, qulu unzurna." Allah asked them to use a different word instead. فهمتم? Now, here's la taghlu fi dinikum. Okay, do not be excessive in your religion. So this is a command directly coming from Allah to us. That's why there are command. And as for dua, it's going other way around. So we say Rabbana la tu'akhidna. So here we are saying Rabbana, O Allah, or Lord, la tu'akhidna. This means like not to blame us, not to hold us accountable. So we're saying don't hold us accountable for the things that we do. And also la tahmil alayna isran. This is the last verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, right? So what are we looking at? We're looking at lamul and we're looking at sukun here. It's a command, okay? So you're still asking Allah to do whatever you're asking, but it is you're asking as a supplication. Now, so that's probably concludes what I wanted to talk about today, which was the first part of the huruf. So all of these things, they make one present tense verb into majzum, just one. See, the la comes, it only affects one verb. So la comes, it only affects one verb. And then we have lam al comes, it affects one verb. Okay. Same thing goes for lamma, it will affect one verb only. But next class we'll learn the other ones in wama, wamahma. They need two verbs. They will affect two verbs. And there's a lot of discussion, so inshallah we will talk about them later.